Bryn, something gnaws at my mind, and I just need to get it off my chest, if I may.
Yes?
When discussing that the Hearthsider was watching you, you agreed with Sev that we should be very cautious. It will, of course, be your and Oria's call, but I just have to say, we have so much we could learn. If the Hearthsiders retain even a fragment of what the Enclave knew, they're still worth making allies of.
I hear you. And good point. It's just that we must confirm their motivations before we even think about sharing knowledge.
Sagacious. Thank you. I have said my piece and appreciate your understanding.
I hope I'm not prying by bringing this up, but Dharm and Arya told me about your last band.
Oh. Yeah.
Sounds like it was pretty rough.
It wasn't great, that's for sure. I mean, I gave up everything I knew to become a weaver. And it only took a couple of weeks for me to realize I had chased the wrong caravan out of town. All that band did was drink and fight. I stuck around, thinking I might be able to make a difference if I became point, but Aaron chose someone else to take his place in the end.
You're in better hands now. I promise. Even though I'm sure your last few days with us have been a lot. Do you have any regrets about leaving?
I'm not one for getting lost in the past. I prefer to keep my eyes on what's in front of me. So, no regrets.
Glad to hear you're moving on. But, you know, sometimes it takes us a little while to process our experiences. If you ever do need to dwell on the past, just know I'm here to listen.
Thanks, Sola.
Shouldn't we be trying to find a way out of here?
So, now that I'm done being frigid and unwelcoming.
You were only lukewarm.
Sure. How about an icebreaker? To get to know each other better.
Sounds fun. What have you got?
Simple. If you were a wild animal, what would you be?
Easy. Ash Peak Drake.
Mm-hmm. You fancy yourself majestic enough to inspire legends?
More like I'm fiery and driven.
Fine, I can see that.
And yourself? What animal would you be?
An eastern reef crake.
A crake? Somehow I pictured fewer tentacles and destroyed ships in your wake.
You're thinking of the big ones. An eastern reef crake is pretty small and harmless. But all crakes are misunderstood. They're incredibly intelligent creatures. And they diligently protect their eggs. They actually only attack when their nest is under threat. So yeah, I'd be a crake. Happily living underwater.
This may sound fairly ridiculous, but the real draw of alchemy for me is how it grants me the ability to help people.
Oh?
Yes. I enjoy my little experiments, I'll admit. I enjoy synthesizing new and wonderful compounds. But mixing an unguent for the urchin girl by the canal with the flea bites on her legs? That was, I felt, a rather more responsible use of my allowance. Of course, the house would have looked down on that. The instruction not to mix with lower classes was implicit, but clear nonetheless. I even used alchemy to disguise myself so I wouldn't be recognized. I wore my hair in a stark white for a time, if you can imagine it.
Did you look silly?
Striking is the word I would use. My patients didn't mention it, and my apothecaries knew better than to make fun of their best customer. Alchemy is the science of change, and while I am happy to explore those changes both within and without myself, well, I think my natural colour suits me fine for now.
Might change your mind. You never know.
Exactly. Here to brief?
I like to know everything I can before venturing off to a new place.
Just beyond the forested hills of Glintwood Hollow lies the wetlands known as Dredger's Mire. Much like the Hollow, the Enclave prospected many of the raw materials needed for its ambitious constructs and projects from the mire. Oh, it's no coincidence you found the Ark of the Stricken Earth near a collapsed mine. Likely, it was used for the excavation of minerals and metals before the surge. I believe the natural surroundings of the mire were also rich in resources. The Enclave even settled a small village there known as Poldervale.
Which is where I might find that masked figure that was watching me.
It's possible. Regardless, do you have any questions before you head out?
What can you tell me about Poldervale? It seems like it was settled pretty far from their capital.
Indeed. Though, when you take instantaneous travel through loom gates into account, what constitutes a remote village changes. The village was likely settled to facilitate the prospecting of raw materials in the outskirts. Resources farmed here could easily be transported across the Enclave through the use of loom gates.
Apart from the village, it sounds like this is mostly untamed lands. Any expectation that it will be more dangerous than the Hollow?
I would expect so, yes. We've made camp in a way station that's pretty far from Denevron, and the mire yet even more remote. Everything I've read says the deeper into the outskirts of the Enclave one ventures, the more wild and untamed the lands become.
You're saying my battle with the Great Ark might be looking like child's play soon?
Possibly?
Some of the others didn't seem so sure we should be trying to track down the masked figure. What do you think?
History demands we find them. If the masked figure truly is a Hearthsider, their stories and what they've lived through in here would be invaluable to our understanding of the Enclave and of the Surge.
Sounds like I'd better find them then. Thanks for the info, Lane. I think I'm ready to head out.
My pleasure. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I didn't have the biggest role to play in the loom gates repair. I'm not exactly handy with a hammer. But watching the band work gave me an idea for a new alchemical project. Its working name is a loom shard.
A loom shard?
Yes, it's a shard that could draw magic from a loom gate and bring you back to camp safely, wherever you are.
How is this different from Aurea putting me back with the scry?
Unaided, Aurea can only summon enough magic to bring you back safely, not all the valuables you might have collected on your expedition. Because this shard draws magic from the tapestry, it can bring you back safely with all you've gathered.
Thanks, Lane.
Ready?
Let's do this.
First trip through the loom gate is a success.
That was so awesome!
mantle!
The Sodden Pass. A fitting name for the road to the wetlands.
According to the maps, you're getting close to Dredge's Mire.
Designed for a two-hander. Looks like it was being packed up to ship.
It'll be exciting to work off an Enclave design firsthand.
Metal plates with detailed engraving. I wonder if Sila might be interested in these.
I know you're excited to explore, but first things first. Use our key swatch with a loom gate in the mire, so that it's easy to return.
Right. I'll check the maps.
Perfect. I can see the connection. We'll be able to come back whenever we'd like.
Without having to trek through all the mud.
The beauty of instantaneous travel. Keys watches are an ingenious system for connecting loom gates together. My darling, I suspect the way the light filters through the Enclave's veil makes you look more luminous than ever.
Stop. It'll go to my head.
Should I come back later? I didn't mean to interrupt you two.
Sorry, Bryn. Sometimes we get lost in our little world.
But since you're here, I was actually hoping to speak with both you and Sola.
Oh?
I don't know if you know this, but my wife is an extremely talented smith who was apprenticed under a variety of world-class teachers.
Well, a revolving door of mentors doesn't exactly facilitate the most stable education, especially when one of them drops dead in front of you.
Oh, details. You've made more of your varied experience than most could glean from a lifetime. Anyway, I know you always hoped to further your education with the Tarmakine Smithing School's techniques. So, I asked Lane to look into whether or not any Tarmakine smithing was ever practiced here in the Enclave.
Oh, doll. You shouldn't have. It's sweet, but there are other priorities.
What could be more pressing than helping my wife fulfill her lifelong dreams? As luck would have it, there were Tarmakine smiths here before the search.
Really?
Perhaps our daring point might be able to keep a lookout for anything those smiths might have left behind.
I mean, if it's too much trouble.
Of course. I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. I'll leave you to discuss the details.
Anything in particular I should look for?
The Tarmakine smithing techniques are exceptionally complex, and as such, pretty rare across the Maida. It might be too much to hope for anything close to a completed armor set, but prototypes or even notes pertaining to the style would be useful. I'd take anything you can find.
You might be in luck. I found a set of engraved metal plates. Is this what you're looking for?
Yes, these markings in the metal are vents, a signature of the Tarmakine style.
Can we do anything with the plates?
Not without some sort of schematic. Maybe if you found one, I could try forging something for you. Not too heavy, not too light. Classic design here.
Harvesting. Such an intriguing term for so critical a task.
Why do we call it that anyway?
My favorite explanation is that it implies a thoughtfulness. When we harvest a creature, we pull something out of its essence. It is, fundamentally, a violent act. But we harvest predators, ones that pose a threat to us. There are peaceful or merely territorial creatures that use magic, but Weaver custom is to never harvest them.
That makes sense. I like that we're selective about it.
Further, Weavers do not seek to eradicate these creatures, merely keep them in check. Slaughter them all, and we not only lose access to more strands, but also risk disrupting the ecosystem. You've heard of Renland's famed attempt to cull their Akala population, and the mass loss of crops due to too many deer, yes? Same thing. Even something as wild as an Ash Peak drake plays a role in the world.
Hopefully Oria's wing recovers soon.
This is Poldervale, but what happened? The village is completely frozen.
This can't be natural. I've got you.
Just like home. You're round a corner and a glacier's right there to greet you. There's no way this is natural. Feels like frost magic.
A hallowed pyre shrine all the way out here.
It's quite a thing, being rescued by the scry.
Disorienting. But better than the alternative.
I'll only ever use it when I'm sure it's needed.
How exactly does it operate?
Similar to a loom gate, but much more focused. I maintain a constant flow of magic into the scry, and it connects to you.
Letting you see the area around me.
In an emergency, I can, I guess yank is the best term, on that connection.
How come you never hear about scries being used by military? Or to bring nobles home after a night of debauchery?
Rarity and expertise. Scries are enclave enchantments, and when the veil closed, supplies ceased. On top of that, it takes someone with exceptional control and stamina when channeling magic to use one for any length of time.
Got it. That's why points become watchers. It's really nice, having the sensation of you and the others watching over me. You're like the guardian spirits from the stories every Carnhaven child knows. You protect, advise, and of course bicker.
Well, I don't know about spirits, but we'll be your guardians any day.
Compared to my last band, I'm glad we actually use the scry.
Not as glad as I am that the loom gates seem to extend its effective range. Just don't take it as a license to be reckless. Risky business flirting with death.
Form and function. A delicate tool for precision work. Wield it well.
Solar, any thoughts on how I might go about withstanding cold temperatures while I search for the key swatch?
With the right materials, any design for armor could give you some resistance to frost magic and cold temperatures.
What kind of materials could I bring you?
A callahide would do the trick for one.
There are plenty of those prowling in the outskirts. Thanks for the insight.
So, we're hunting a rogue key swatch in a frozen village. When dealing with temperature, your magic can directly counteract it.
I'm guessing we fight frost with flame?
Just so. Like building a fire on a cold night, except much faster. And the night has teeth and talons.
Unfortunately, I don't have a flame strand yet.
It's a tall order, but defeating a drake would allow us to weave a strand of its power.
Drakes and I are due for a reckoning, anyway.
Spoken like a true point.
Bryn, do you have a moment?
For my favorite lawkeeper? Absolutely.
I'm the only lawkeeper here, though.
Yes. Doesn't mean you aren't my favorite. So, what do you need?
What was it? Oh, yes. I'm looking to do some experiments with our chemical reagents, and was wondering if you could source me some.
That sounds like something I could help with. What's the experiment?
I won't waste your time with specifics. I just think it'll produce something helpful, if my hypothesis is correct.
Well, my last lawkeeper sent me out all the time for herbs that he'd inevitably just stuff in a pipe and smoke.
Oh. No, that makes sense, then. Yes. Sorry. I think I can help Oria with the Watcher's Wisp.
Oh. After what happened in the Veil's shadow, any improvement to the scry is worth making.
Exactly. I noticed that she needs a break before guiding you again. The tangles were so bad in the shadow, she couldn't use the wisp at all.
The scry has been better inside the Enclave. But we shouldn't take any chances. What do you need?
There's a plant that only grows here in the Enclave. It expresses a clarifying magical essence. I think I can use it to strengthen Oria's connection with the scry.
That'd be really helpful.
I think so too. Now, am I missing something?
Where can I find the plant?
Oh, right. At night, in the outskirts, they glow, so you won't be able to identify them during the daytime. And I believe they mostly grow in clusters near bodies of water. Not rivers, but ponds, lakes, you know.
Go to the outskirts at night and grab some glowing plants near bodies of water. Got it.
Well, they have a more accurate name than that. I won't overcomplicate it. But they're referred to locally as Diane's Chorus. which refers to a moment in the Enclave's history early on when their second leader, Diane Ramenos, was elected by unanimous vote. She was the right person at the right time for the Enclave and brokered several extremely lucrative trade deals.
The more you talk, the longer you'll wait.
Sorry, yes, please go. Bring them to me as soon as you can. Thank you.
Hey, Lane. Got any ideas on how I might go about retrieving a key swatch from a frozen village?
I imagine long underwear might help.
Maybe an alchemical solution?
I'm teasing, of course. Drinking a frost shroud phial would do the trick. It makes cold temperatures much easier to withstand. I have some phials already prepared for you. I had the perfect alembic for them, thanks to our recent improvements. One moment, Bryn. I just need to write this down. Stir twice clockwise, filter the sediment, put it aside for Darm's moisturizing cream. Good. Now, did I forget something when last we spoke? I was after some ingredients to enhance the Watcher's Wisp. Is that correct? I know it hasn't been long, but...
Don't worry. No problems there. I know we chatted before, but I wanted to learn more about you.
Well, I came from Judea. You already know that. I'm an enthusiastic student of the alchemical arts. Oh, there's more to my family. I'm my father's third child, but I have 3 siblings. I was fairly close to 2 of them. The firstborn is 12 years older than me and never had much interest in being friends.
Was that hard on you?
It was normal to be in that situation, I'd say. By the time I was old enough to hold a conversation, he was already playing the political game. Took after my mother in that regard. Hold on, I need to write something down. To do. Investigate why Sola keeps borrowing moisturizing cream from Darm instead of coming to me to get her own.
Big list of tasks you've got there.
Like you wouldn't believe.
I've never been to Judea. Can you tell me more about what it was like to grow up there?
Bryn, respectfully, I like to think I'm an open book, but as I said, I have quite a big list of tasks to complete. You do, too. Let's try and make a dent, shall we?
Of course. Catch you later.
You know there's a trick to picking your armor when dealing with temperature.
Do tell.
If you're going to be up against extreme cold or heat, lighter armors can be the better choice. They can't provide raw protection like steel, but metals also move temperature very quickly. Lighter armors layer cloth and leathers, much better for insulation, especially if you pick the right ones.
I'll keep that in mind. This place pulls no punches.
50 years ago, we could travel hundreds of leagues in an instant.
Diane's core is collected. Lane will be pleased to see these. Another drake.
This one doesn't seem as aggressive. Must not be rutting.
Should leave you alone unless you get close. The Archon expands. Pre-surge, the Arks trod this passage daily to transport and farm resources from the outskirts.
There's a watchtower ahead.
Found the tome I was looking for. It mentioned that key swatches were held by security in the Enclave's more remote villages. It ensured their loom gates could be reconnected to more central locations if needed. Perhaps our Heartsider won't be in the watchtower, but a key swatch to Denevran could be.
Genius,
Nice work.
Another flame strand for your mantle.
Glowing plants acquired and delivered. How are things on your end?
Oh, I'd almost forgotten about these. Thankfully, the alchemic preparation is, well, prepared. Let me find it. Here it is. All I need to do is extract the clarifying essence, and that should do it.
It's wonderful to watch a genius at work. So, when can I go test this out?
I was hoping you'd ask. I need some more ingredients. More of the luminous plants, for one, and some inkcap mushrooms, if you wouldn't mind.
What are you cooking up now?
More Diane's chorus means I can mix up plenty of this solution for Aurea. Inkcaps? Well, that's a secret for now.
I'll allow it. I'll be back once I've grabbed everything on your sundry list.
The great market of the outdoors. Huh. I hope you're able to find some good bargains.
I always do.
Have you ever wondered why the Vale is, well, called the Vale?
No. I don't think I've ever thought about it.
Obviously, nobody outside the Enclave knew that it was going to appear, so when the surge hit, everyone near the Vale was essentially vaporized. The first travelers to witness it all said the same thing, that it looked like a mourning veil, with tangles gathering around its base. A simple description, but quite evocative, wouldn't you say?
And that's where the name for tangles came from too, I'm guessing.
Correct. Their existence had been theorized previously, but they required massive amounts of raw magic to form, non-existent in the wild. Until the surge, of course.
I'll try and keep clear of them. Thanks for the history lesson.
Anytime.
Good balance of protection and mobility. Don't forget to block.
because it's so cold.
This can't be natural.
It's just like Poldervale, only on a massive scale. This is exactly what happened to Tarza after the surge when all the aeroliths failed. It must be something like that.
Out in the field, you mentioned you recognize the sudden change in weather.
The same rapid shifts racked Tarza shortly after the surge. The deserts had been somewhat tamed by enchanted stones, the aeroliths. Each kingdom would boast they had the greatest coverage. Ironically, while the Tarzan nobility were bragging they each had more, the real concentration of them was in Judea. That did not end well.
Let me guess. Something awful happened to them after the surge.
The enchantments cascaded out of control. One would skew the weather too far, others would react.
Like a pendulum swing, but getting stronger.
Yes, rapid and extreme. Just like what we're seeing here. Thankfully, this means they should be somewhat predictable. The more we learn about each locale, the better we'll be able to predict the changes.
So, keep exploring and wear my warm pants now and then. Can do.
Brutish, yet elegant. Not as protective, but great against the elements.
Maybe I should take up jogging. It might save the life of whoever needs to rescue me.
Sev mentioned something about Judea using aeroliths, like Tarza.
That's true, yes. It was well before my time, but they are not well regarded in our history.
What happened to them?
You're aware Judea had legendary trade fleets that made it the richest federation in the Maida.
Yes, but not since the... Oh.
It turns out when you rely on magic to keep your harbors safe, and magic itself breaks in something like the Surge, there's a price to be paid.
It's a good thing heat waves like this don't last long, or the plants would cook.
Farewell, food supply. Careful using flame here. Anything flammable will ignite and spread far too easily.
According to this logbook, all the key swatches were removed from the Poldervale Watch a few years after the surge.
Strange.
But there was one key swatch that was borrowed and never returned by the mayor at his residence in Poldervale.
Perhaps it's still there.
It'll be tough for me to withstand the cold long enough to search for it.
very exciting to see one of the Enclave's enchanted weapon designs firsthand. I'm sure Sola will have a field day with it.
I don't need any particularly magical materials for it, I notice.
No, that's where I come in. I preserve numerous byproducts alongside each resonance as part of the weaving process. I have got, in the literal and figurative sense, your back.
Lane, any thoughts on why the mayor of Poldervale kept a key swatch to Denevron in his home?
Not personally, but I do know what the Poldervale Watch suspected about it.
Really? How?
At the back of the logbook, those on watch would leave small notes for whoever was taking over the next shift. Most of it appears to be idle gossip, but apparently popular belief was that the mayor had a mistress on the side.
Ah, a wife in Poldervale and a mistress in Denevron.
Instantaneous travel would be necessary to not get caught.
Goodness. Small towns are the same everywhere, aren't they?
What is there to do in them but talk?
I'm proud of this one.
Got the key swatch. And unfettered access to the Enclave's capital.
Amazing, Queen.
Denevron awaits. That's enough Diane's chorus. Just need to grab those ink caps, and I'll have everything Lane asked for.
Sapper's Lake. The surrounding trees emitted an alchemical sap. It was a sought-after resource.
Impressive, Bryn. We're on our way to Denevron. Thanks to you.
Everyone helped. I just did my part.
In a well-run band, everything takes teamwork, that's for sure. But don't downplay your role in this. Since you've been crisis promoted to point, we've felled a great arc, restored a construct, and now we've got access to the Enclave's capital. Not everyone could accomplish what you have, let alone in our current circumstances. In fact, most would crumble under the pressure.
Don't get me wrong, I know I'm doing good here. But honestly, having just left a band that fought and backstabbed one another, I really appreciate the level of teamwork that went into this. The others are lifting me up, and I don't take that for granted.
That's good to hear. I know they're as impressed with you as I am.
Thanks, Aurea.
Now, enough talk. You've got a city to explore. Watch the pack tactics with those Akala. Give ground and use flame if you can. Their fur can't take it.
Bryn, a moment. I'm collecting data, surveying the team, so to speak. One question is all I need answered. Do you think Ava deserves a share in any rewards for the work undertaken by the Weaver Band?
Of course. But we might have to find something other than gold and jewels to shower her with.
Further elaboration is optional, of course, but what comes to mind?
Back in Calnhaven, we took our pack beasts to the hot springs. I think she'd love a spa day up in the mountains, don't you?
Oh, that's very good. I'll make a note of that.
Anything else you need?
No, that's quite enough for now. Thank you.
Fit for a point. I'm proud of this one. A delicate tool for precision work. Wield it well.